Hey, welcome to the best of channel here. So this is going to be a very exciting discussion that we have for you guys today. I'm Brett from the Wheel Weaves podcast, and I am joined today by a bunch of lovely faces from all across the internet and all across the world. So thanks for being here, guys. And I know that Thom gave me a heart attack this morning, being at 9 a.m., being like, oh my God, are we going on right now? No, it wasn't happening. So thank you for that, Thom.
It's Eastern time. It was Pacific time, not Eastern time.
Oh my, it was you had me going crazy for a second there, but yeah, thanks for joining us. I want to do a quick explanation of what we're going to be discussing today on this panel. So what we're talking about is the best of the talents and powers in the Wheel of Time universe. So we've come up with a bit of a master list of all the powers that we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to discuss the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly of all these different powers. And then at the very end, we're going to get to decide which is the ultimate power and or talent. Oh my God, are we going on and then also you're going to get to choose which one you would want to have in the real world, or if you were in the Wheel of Time universe. So I'm very excited to see where this conversation goes. I'll be moderating. I'll just be making sure you guys are staying on track and Delusions isn't talking too much today. So just what we want to do first is introduce the panelists. So I think I'm supposed to look to the left. Who's to the left of me right now? Do we know?
Thom.
Thom, okay. Why not? Okay, so Thom, go ahead, introduce yourself, then we'll just go around and get to know each other real fast and plug yourself or whatever you got to do.
Plug myself? Oh, I got you. I'm terrible at doing plugs and stuff. I always forget. Anyway, so Thom DeSimone. I work at JordanCon. I am Director of Guest Services, so I handle all of our panelists and most of the attending professionals, guests of honor, so on and so forth. I also work at Dragonmount. I participate. I have the grace and honor to participate alongside the amazing talents of Kitty, who is here, Kitty Rollo, and Ebony, which I'm sure most people know from the social medias. She's very active. The Wheel of Time community show on Dragonmount. And I just love Wheel of Time. You know, I wish I could tell my 13-year-old self that I'd be doing stuff like this today. You know, I would never believe myself, but at least I would have been a little less depressed in school, being the nerdy kid.
I think we're all there, so on the same page. So segue, Kitty.
Oh, hey, hi. I'm Kitty Rollo. I work for Dragonmount. I run the TikTok, and I also host with Thom and Ebony for the YouTube. There's rumors I might be Bella. Maybe. And I also do the recipes because I'm a chef.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Let's go to, just on my screen, Jenny.
Yes, I am Jenny. I have a YouTube channel where I talk pretty much exclusively about Wheel of Time. My YouTube channel is called Lezbi Nerdy. You can find me by looking for Lezbi Nerdy on the YouTubes. And I've been reading Wheel of Time since the 90s, I guess. And so this is like a very exciting time to still exist. That's all I've got to say on that. Yeah.
Just happy to be alive.
Well, the show's coming out. I was thinking about this the other day. Kids today, and I'm going to sound very old and curmudgeonly as I say this. Kids today who have a fantasy or a genre fiction that they really love. Like if you loved Hunger Games, you got your movies before the series was done. If you liked Harry Potter, you got your movies before the series was done. Like that's what happens these days. We've been waiting 30 years. Like that's insane. That's insane how long we've been waiting to see this. And it's almost here. Do you know how close it is? It's almost here.
I gotta say, Jenny, don't jinx it at this point. Why would you do that?
Sorry. Okay, continue.
All right. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for being here. Let's go next to Lauren.
Hey, I'm Lauren. I run a YouTube channel as well. Not as cool as all this other content that these other cool people do, but I make animated videos about the Wheel of Time, deep dives and stuff. I'm just happy to be here. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Not as cool as. If you have not seen what Unraveling the Pattern
I know. He's underselling himself by so much.
Super talented at making these things.
Yeah.
All I do is talk. That's all I can do.
Like getting recruited by Amazon in the background to run the trailer for them.
Daniel Green told me I was the prime rib of Wheel of Time content, so I'll just quote him.
Mwah. Indeed.
You can put that in your bio. So, and last but not least, certainly not, Delusions.
Hello, I'm Delusions of Grendel, clearly delusional, as you can see. I've been reading Wheel of Time since 1999, when I was about 11. I occasionally do podcast stuff, like when I can get my shit together. It's called Feather and Mountain Podcast. It's hosted by me, veteran reader, and then a never reader, my buddy Virgil, who is not reading the books and is just going to be watching the show and kind of reviewing it from the perspective of someone who is a casual TV fantasy fan. And we hang out. I support all the content creators and just aspire to be them one day.
Awesome. Well, I hope that everyone is well versed in the powers and talents area, because we have a whole master list. I know we came up some of these together, so I just want to run everyone through what some of the topics we're going to be talking about. If we want to throw anything else in there as we discuss, that's totally fine. But a couple that we came up with are Wolf Brother power. We've got dream walking. We've got dreaming. We've got Min's viewing abilities. We've got Matt's luck power. We've got Taviriness in general. That's a verb or a noun, I'm not really sure. We've got tree singing. We've got having the old blood memories. We've got the Slayer abilities, which are a little bit different from the typical. Then we've got some cool shadow spawn abilities too. So we've got Fain's tracking GPS ability. We've got shadow jumping, and of course, immortality via the Dark One. So let's start us off, and I'm going to kind of sit back and listen to your guys' conversation, and let's talk about the Wolf Brother power. So just by the size of the beard, I don't know whose is bigger, but let's go with Thom. Why don't you start us off and talk about the Wolf Brother power?
The beard? Oh dear.
I want yes. Your beard is just as amazing. Yours is red, so it's better than mine, just by default.
Special effects.
So Wolf Brotherness, yeah. I mean, like with everything, I feel like in the Wheel of Time, there's a balance to it. So, its balance is purely with the willpower of the user. Like you could go crazy, and crazy is an operative verb. You could think you're a wolf and not be human anymore. So that's the offset from that, to get that out of the way first. But so we're supposed to be ruling on what's the strongest, or what would we want in the world. I think personally, and I know I'm not going to fit that bill, but I wouldn't want the Wolf Brother power. I don't it is a powerful power for sure, but it is not useful in all aspects of the world. It would be terrifically useful in the wilderness and out and about, but anything that you're going to get into near any human settlement, the wolves, it's going to take a strong will to get the wolves to even get near it, if you could find any near human settlement.
Who's in favor of the Wolf Brother power? Would anyone actually take? Okay, why don't we hear from one of you?
Go ahead,
or
both. Lauren. No.
Oh, well, first of all, yeah, if it's just about talking to wolves, that's kind of lame in our day and age, right? Because there's not a lot around that I know of.
You should probably include bears in that, right?
Yeah, squirrels. I just want the squirrel power. No, but you know what what I like about it though is it's also dream walking.
I was about to say.
So that's a huge bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I want to smell everyone's emotions around me. It seems like it would be useful, but it also seems like, just like Perrin, it could get you into a lot of trouble. And so I'm kind of on the fence about that. But being able to smell,
people trust you. You could tell people that guy's lying. If they don't trust you, they may just believe the opposite.
Right. My personal opinion about the Wolf Brother power is it's one of the coolest things that Robert Jordan came up with. But he gave it to one of the characters who likes it the least. Not that Perrin himself is lame, although there's a whole,
yes, he is.
There's a whole discussion that can be had about that. Perrin started off as one of my favorites, but over the course of the series, it's almost like, come on, you have this awesome power. Why don't you be cooler about it?
That's why he has it.
Yeah, it's true. And the fact that he's so torn and worries about going into beast mode or whatever, I guess that's a concern, whatever. I think that'd be kind of cool, but I'm on board.
You're also in favor of it, correct?
Yes, big fan of the wolf power, not a big fan of Pear Bear. So I think the power was misused because Perrin's a garbage human.
What?
And
we gotta stay on topic here.
Okay, right. This is not Perrin's segue. But I think it's like super useful, and I love the idea of being able to manipulate people by smelling their emotions, and maybe that's the Grendel in me showing.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful, like being able to know what people are actually feeling beneath, you know, the exterior that they're presenting to the world is something that you can like use to your advantage. It's great for Days Damar. It's great for political gain. It's great for relationships if you're not a dumbass.
I was gonna say no, it's not.
And like because Perrin chooses to react based on these emotions instead of trying to control them. Do better. But I think it's just, it grants you so much access, and like access to the world of dreams, access to the wilderness, access to like the minds of, like, I'm a big fan of wolves in general, but like access to wolves and like the camaraderie, the team spirit. Like, I don't know if I'd pull an Elias and like run off in the woods and just like hang out with my bros, but maybe it's not the worst life to live. Just hang out with,
I think you just flipped me, because I thought of something just now that made me, because I was going to go with dreaming being the like my favorite one as the most powerful, but the problem with that is you're learning from other dreamers who are human and they're bound by their knowledge. Whereas you could, how spoilery are we getting here?
100%.
It's what spoilers.
I know, I'm just saying spoilers. Always ask. All right, anyway. So you're learning dreamwalking from wolves who have been learning dreamwalking from wolves and have access to all of the wolves from
thousands of years. Yeah.
So like, look at Perrin when in the last book, when was it Masana that shoots balefire at him, and he just catches it in his hand, and Egwene, who learned for her, you know, was an innate dreamer, unneeded for Turin Grail. She could enter Tel'aran'rhiod by herself, and then trained by the wise ones who have been going into Tel'aran'rhiod like as a unit, as a cohesive people since for 3,000 years. Perrin, who's only been doing it for who hates doing it, does it only reluctantly, and has only learned a little bit, invested no effort into learning from the wolves. He's like, it's just channeling. I can do whatever I want. And then runs away. It's the access to the knowledge that the wolves have, especially if you know how to leverage that could really help with dreaming, which I feel like is such a strong power, because you could, if you want to go evil and dark side, you could pretty much just kill anybody if you could figure out how to pull them into the dream, which we know is possible. If you could figure out how to go into their dreams and manipulate them, like, you know, go into a king's dream and manipulate him to do things within the thing.
Inception?
Or just, that's I'm flat out.
Or you want to go dark side with this? I mean, have we thought about weaponizing the wolves? I mean, you could have an elite assassin group.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's actually a good segue.
To travel between towns on a carriage. Oh, what do you mean 7,000 wolves attacks the carriage? Whoops.
Katie, I do want to hear more about these evil plot lines here. So do we want to segue this into, because we have to move on, obviously, with the list, we have quite a few to cover. Let's talk about dream walking and Tel'aran'rhiod in general, because dreaming is a little bit separate. Obviously, they're a little bit interrelated too, but are you in favor of the dream walking abilities?
Me specifically?
Yeah, you.
I haven't heard much from you yet,
so I gotta get your opinion.
It's not my number one, but it goes with the dream walking with the wolves, but then going into the humanoid aspect of it and getting to people's psyche, there's so many different ways you could have. It would really test your moral line, depending on, are these powers for real world? Does anyone else know about it? Or is this something in Randland where everyone knows about it? So that's, for me, is going to be the biggest line. So if it's Randland, okay, everyone know there can be checks and balances. But if it's real world, like, where are your ethics at? Where's your line? If nobody is holding you accountable, what would you actually do?
Full dark side. I get it.
Yeah. I'm a nice person, I promise.
So Jenny, take us through dream walking.
You got to find a happy medium.
So dream walking was going to be mine, but when we were talking like about the wolves, I think, well, no, if I'm going to pick dream walking, I have to pick wolves because it's dream walking plus.
Right? You're just like doubling up on, you get two powers for the price of one.
Price of one, right?
Pick the wrong one to talk about first.
Yeah.
Because I think it wins.
Like, the reason I was not going to pick the wolves is because I'm a city girl, right? So I have no desire to live out in the country. So basically it would be Hi, wolves, occasionally when I'm driving between cities. Like, that would be it. That would be when I'm seeing them. But I'm still smelling people although, oh God, can you imagine in a city, like you're just on the subway and smelling everybody's emotions on the subway?
The subway is already bad with smelling, all right?
Yes.
Like, have you ever been in the New York subway? Terrible.
Oh, that would be awful. You'd have to have a car. Sorry, I'm just taking this to like the next level here.
I wonder what the wolves would think if you're just suddenly flying over them at hundreds of miles an hour.
Yes, that's how that would work. But no, like the reason I like the idea of dream walking is for much less nefarious purposes. It's just you can go in the dream and like just do things that you can't normally do just for fun, right? Like I don't know. I could try surfing in the dream. I'm
oh my
too
God,
chicken
you're so
shit to
pure.
surf.
We needed one for the panel.
Okay, you could also do evil things like steal things from places that you're not supposed to. I also am bad.
I swear, you guys, I am.
I swear.
Very, very descriptive.
Yes. No, that's literally what I thought. Okay, you want to know honestly what I thought? Is in the dream world, you can like eat whatever you want. And then it's just like nothing. It's just nothing. You just wake up and then that's
Lactose
it.
intolerance does not exist in the dream.
Exactly.
So you're saying it would be really good for celiacs to go in and just drink
Just
all
eat
the beer.
whatever you want. I have a swallowing disorder. There's a bunch of stuff that I can't eat because it gets stuck, and I could just go to town in the dream world. That would be so fun.
Okay, moving along here. I want to encapsulate two that are somewhat similar. So Min's viewing ability and dreaming in general, just because of the prophetic nature of it. So first off, I just want to get a vibe check here. Is anybody in favor of the prophecy foretelling type stuff?
No,
it's a lot of silence, guy. Lauren, okay, let's give it to me, man.
I'm sort of half and half. I mean, if I'm picking between all of these, those would not be at the top of my list. But I do see the advantages of some of it. Being able to anticipate to some degree what's going to happen, you could make a great career out of that, right? I mean, Min sort of did with the Shanchan. So, but that being said, what's annoying about it to me, and this is obviously for shadowy reasons by Robert Jordan, is most of the time when an individual has a dream or a viewing, they don't know what it means.
Yeah.
And that's kind of annoying. So if there was a way to sort of like learn similar to how Perrin learns from the wolves, if there was a way to be trained how to interpret that better, I'd be on board with that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I would also say one of the things that I find frustrating about it, like with Min, is if I was going to choose, I would choose dreaming over Min's, because Min can't change anything, whereas the dreams aren't set in stone. So like you can get a dream of something and be like, okay, that's where we're headed. I can fix that. Whereas if you have Min's viewing, it's just like, that's where we're headed.
Yeah, I think
that like that's,
the aspect of the inevitability would just fuck with my mental health.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
like if you know, like especially with before the tower breaking in Shadow Rising, when she's just seeing like dozens of Aes Sedai and warders just like with blood on their face, knowing they're going to die and knowing she can't do anything at all to stop it. It's just it hits every like. I like to think that we have autonomy. I like to think that our decisions matter. I like to think that we can change the world like with our minor actions, and everything about Min's ability is just like, nope. You fucked.
yeah, that's it.
Like, and it's specifically with Min's ability, she has trouble interpreting it because like, you know, she doesn't, first of all, for a long time, she doesn't talk to anybody about it. Very few people know about it. And then even when she does start to open up to like the main characters and stuff, she doesn't tell everybody. If I had to choose a power for the Wheel of Time, I feel like it would be project managing the intercommunication between everybody. Because if they just talk to each other, it would be so much better.
How do you talk to girls?
You know, maybe Matt would.
I don't know. I'll ask Rand.
Yeah. But also, like, people don't listen to her when she tells them, like, it's gonna happen. You can't change it. They're like, oh, well, we're gonna change it. I'm like, no, you can't. Yeah, well, we're gonna do it. Like,
and like, she's not the greatest at interpersonal communication. She just bluntly tells people shit, and they're just like,
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Okay.
She needs some theatrical training. So
basically, her power sucks, is I think what we're all saying.
Unenviable.
I think we're missing the real world application of starting a TLC show where you can really capitalize on the, fortune telling aspect. But I'm just here to monitor. That's okay.
Okay, in the real world, you could make some money off that shit. That is true.
I mean, you can make some money in Randland too. So
I still would hate it though. Like just
don't go
no control at all. Yeah.
Just don't go anywhere near where they don't like channeling, because they'll just think it's channeling.
Okay, we're moving on to the next one, and I'm really excited to see who is in favor or against this one. I want to talk about Matt Cawthon's luck, because this is such a interesting power. And, Kitty, you got your hands up here, so take us away.
This is my
start us off here.
Favorite one, because in real world applications, nobody knows. There's no visual. Nobody's going to think you're crazy. You're like, oh, you're going to die. Like there's no other aspect coming in. It is just you and the amount of opportunities it could open, meeting the right people at the right time. And to me, honestly, the only negative is going to be kind of like tinnitus. You're going to hear the rattling in your head. And some ibuprofen, you'll be fine. But to me, like the actual real world aspects of this, it could be life-changing in a subtle way that other people are not going to think that it's a little too weird or a little too off. They're just like, oh, wow, you're just having you've had a lot of great breaks. So you're having a really good life. I would love that.
It's the best. Like if you're ever like, ooh, spent a bit too much at the bar last night, all you need to do is go to a casino and top up. This mortgage would like to pay that off in 6 months. Oops.
Go pick up a scratch off. I wonder what the percentage rate would be for like scratch offs, a lottery. I mean, you would just be rich. You would have no issue with money.
Yeah, like money wouldn't be an issue. I don't know. Like I don't think relationships would be an issue.
Well, and I think it's good to remember too. It's not even just like,
if we look at Matt, relationships are an issue. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like I spent too much last night, better go top off. Like he's like Scrooge McDuck levels of rich. Like he went from nothing to playing cards with High Lords of Tyr within like a month. Yeah. Right. So if he had even put more effort into accruing wealth, he would have been, Jeffrey Bezos to the moon.
Yeah. If he wasn't constantly people trying to kill him and then, going insane from a dagger.
Yes. Is that part of his luck power though? Like to have people constantly trying to kill him?
Yeah, I was going to say, if we kind of back that up a little bit, because Matt Cawthon also talks about the fact that he has to be smart about his gambling, because that does get him into trouble if he wins too often. Same with the whole Vegas issues. Like you win too much in Vegas, they're going to take you to the back room and break your legs.
In real world, he'd be investing in crypto.
Speaking from experience.
I've seen enough movies with Vegas in it.
Very real.
In real world, he'd be like investing in crypto is what he'd be doing.
I bought 7,000 Bitcoin when they were 1 cent a piece.
Yeah. And then sold Doge right before it tanked. Like, that would be him.
I feel like there's so much that can be said about Matt's luck, but I feel like this does tie into the next thing on the list, which is the Taviran-ness.
Yes.
Because there could be a whole discussion had about how much of Matt's luck is based around his Taviran nature and how much is it just a gift he's given. And I think we know that at the end of the series, he still retains his luck. Is that correct?
I think
it's probably and that's just, I think he was still going to be Taviran post last battle just to reunite Shan Chan with the spin.
That goes into it, like a theory that I have specifically about Taviran and the way they work. So if you look at Matt and Perrin's interact, the three people that we know for sure are Taviran pretty much the entire series, Rand, Matt, and Perrin. When Rand, Matt, and Perrin interact, most times when it's Matt and Perrin, Matt will have the upper hand in what's going on with Perrin, conversations, what they're doing. But when it's Rand and Matt, they are they are exact. The perfect example is when they're flipping the coin and it lands on edge every single time that they flip the coin. Where Rand is probably the most powerful of Taviran because of who he is. He's the Messiah, whatever mythology you want to choose from there. He's the most powerful of the Taviran, but Matt's innate nature of being the trickster, lucky Taviran gives him that extra boost to put him almost on par with the randomness nature of it. So I think generally a Taveran, like no Taveran are run of the mill, but none are equal to the three of them, I think.
Right.
So
and
maybe
most people are only
here's a
Taveran
point to
for short
discuss
periods
too.
of time.
So with Taveranness, is it what the person who is Taveran wants, or is it what the pattern wants? Because you know, you could argue that being Taveran would be almost like a terrible thing because you don't get to do what you want to do. You get to do what the pattern needs you to do at that point in time.
And if the pattern needs you to die, or if the pattern needs you to lose all your money, or if the pattern, it'll do that instead of making like it's argued that the parent like a general Taveran's nature of luck is really just pushing them to the pattern's ultimate goal. So if the pattern's ultimate goal is for you to die there, you're going to live at every other point over here to get there to die. So it's like
rude, very rude.
It's a pro-con situation. Like Matt's luck would be great, but I compare Taveranness to Min's viewings, how we were talking about how it's kind of a curse. Like there's nothing she can do about it.
Yep.
It does feel to me though, like at some point Rand sort of figured out how to use the Taveran nature to his advantage. I mean, no, maybe it's because he accepted the fact that he was being pushed down a road, but it does feel like he was able to manipulate that, at least to some degree.
At a certain point, he learned to ride it. Like he
he learned to surrender to the will of Taveranness.
Like, no, being a flat out being a Taveran would suck. I would hate it. I would hate it so much. I do not want the world deciding my fate.
It's powerful and but situational, and the pattern doesn't care. Like the pattern is immoral. It just seeks balance. So it doesn't it's not going to care what happens to you. So yeah, it might be really good for a very long time, but then when they don't need you anymore, you'll go right back to being a vanilla human, or just die because the pattern needs you to die.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to the next one here. And I want to include a couple here because I know we talked about including tree singing. So basically anything that goes along with being like the Green Man, or anything that goes along with being an Ogier. So anything in there, does anyone see any value there? Or would they take that as I'd take that power if I got an option?
It's an interesting thing because the amount of work that you could do environmentally with that as of right now in real world could be an actual life-changing asset for millions of people. So if you're looking at it from a philanthropy point of view, it's probably the absolute best. And if there's any way to mix that with the Wolf Brother, literally could change the world. And carbon emissions. Oh, but it's just this is like the good poison ivy. Yeah. This is, or we could go bad with it. Let's go bad with it.
Poison Ivy had a point. She had a point.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. No, I mean, and there's something to be said, like you talked about the environmentalism of it, and even going back into the Wayback Machine with Ruidian, we really got to see the power of crop growing. And it's kind of a funny conversation, but the amount of good you can do with such a minor or small action is pretty powerful. So I know there's a lot of stiff competition for, if you only got one power, would you take this?
Yeah.
But it's a tough
you
one.
would be invaluable to any nation. Being able to grow food for a populace, or even just if you want to go a little bad with it, an army whenever you need to, is we see that throughout the series. They can't feed their troops, and or they cut off the supply lines. Oh well, they have 1,200 Ogier that could just grow an entire crop in an afternoon.
Yeah, I think real world application, I feel like you would just get burnt out really quickly.
Yeah.
Because we've seen probably the worst of humanity this past year and how selfish people can be. And I just think that if you had this noble power and you wanted to go and help regrow the Amazon rainforest or something, and you go down there and then motherfuckers are just being so inconsiderate, and some dipshit has a gender reveal party and then burns down a forest that you just regrew. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Does no one appreciate what I'm doing?
End up in a lab somewhere with Monsanto stamped.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, that flashback in in Ruidian when Rand sees the epic tree singing of the Age of Legends. like I think one of the things that makes it so powerful is the unity of the people.
That's what I was about to say. It's not just one person.
Right.
They he has the they have the Aiel singing with them. It's the Nim and the Ogier.
Right.
Like if you have tree singing, you would have to hope that there are other people who can also have tree singing around you. Because
it's harder to take in, like with Monsanto, to have one person versus if there's a decent amount of population that can do it, then that could be an actual versus one, you're screwed.
Because you'd literally be growing one tree at a time. Like you'd sing a song, oh, this tree, okay, next tree. Like you're
13 hours later.
Yeah. So it'd be really helpful in like an apocalypse situation where it's just you on your own with just your family. So apocalypse style, like it's great because you can survive.
Yeah.
But didn't Rand also use it in later books to like grow a ton of apples really quickly in an entire orchard, or was that
he just
also...
he skipped down the mountain like Snow White and was like, here's an apple tree.
But was that Taviran, or was that tree singing, or a little of everything? Was he using the one power? I don't know.
He didn't sing. Like he didn't sing.
It's not clear. It's like a little bit of the power. It was a little bit of Taviranness. It's a little bit of we need people not to starve and die right now because we need people to not.
He actively, like his presence actively drives back the touch of the Dark One. So like most of that shitty like environmental stuff that was going on was the touch of the Dark One. So his presence drove that.
But wasn't there a point when someone hears him sort of singing under his breath? Like, didn't that happen? Or am I crazy?
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. We don't. It's ill-defined. We're not 100% sure. From what I know,
maybe someone in chat can find it. And point that to us.
Yeah. Last books I've read the first like 10 books many times. The last 3 like twice.
But
same.
I'll chip in here from the audience. Yeah, it's when Perrin hears Rand singing when he grows the trees over the tent. They're all in there and it gets shady, and so he is singing and humming like very lightly under his breath. And so it's entirely possible he was humming as he was coming down the mountain, like you said, skipping and humming his way down.
Little birdies flying around his head.
So I know this isn't even on our list, but we're not discussing the one power. But one of the things that Rand has to his advantage by the end is all of that knowledge of past smarter people who lived hundreds of years kind of in his brain. So he is able to kind of a little one power here, a little Taviran there, a little bit of tree singing. Like obviously
sounds like
he
Mambo
was
number 5.
You know what's sad? I actually heard that the other day. Oh gosh.
Killing me. That's going to be stuck in my head for a week.
I'm not going to attempt to sing it.
Okay, somebody needs to make the music video.
WAP parody challenge.
Oh man.
So from what I'm getting from that with the tree, there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, and would we take it as the one we get to choose? I think it's a little bit iffy, but let's move on because we've got a couple more and we are down to probably the last like 10, 15 minutes and we got to wrap up here. So let's talk about old blood memories and stuff. And I say stuff as a very loose term because we get a whole lot of different ways old stuff can like kind of come into a person. So would you want the blood of your ancestors to flow through your veins and give you special knowledge? Or Thom, okay, let's go first.
I actually want to just kind of shoot you right in the foot and just say I don't think that this ability exists.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I think that this specific thing that happens is just the pattern turning on its Taviran nature for a second and then turning it back off, like when needed.
Interesting. So even
and that's just how it manifests. And this is just a personal thing in my head. Like that's just me. I'm not backing this up with any kind of. It just goes along with other instances of Taviran nature, like turning on and off, like in instances. So that's the only reason
That's fair. For the sake of argument, let's pretend that it is a thing and that it can be an option.
Well, and to be fair, Matt has kind of 2 of these. He has that stuff happen, but then he also eventually is given memories of older people. They're not his memories or his lives. That is a real thing that happens. So I feel like it's kind of within that same vein, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Do you want the memories of your ancestors? Considering, I mean, there are all these great battle generals. Like, do we get to choose, or do I just know how to, plant 100 acres of potatoes?
And then the problem with that is he also remembers them dying, which
he remembers dying a lot. Yeah.
I mean, being able to understand what your ancestors understood and learned, to me, that's nothing but positive because we're already having things passing down from generation to generation, but it's all verbal. It's all through stories and probably hyperbole, right? So it would be nice to actually have access to that. I think we'd be better as a society in general. if we have that. And I think that's a pattern, the pattern's corrective mechanism, right? Legend fades to myth and is long forgotten. Well, not when the pattern gets involved.
Not so fast.
It could also be interesting coming to like language. We can see actual translations with a real thing of like, oh no, that's actually what they said 2,000 years ago, not what we think because it's been passed down. Right. So that would either start a lot of wars or make a lot of people feel better. So it's, man, pluses and minuses for everything.
Yeah. It's like having like the cloud and like Google just built into your database, but without the threat of identity theft.
Because you are all of the identities.
To be negative about it again, it's you would be colored by the experience and feelings of that person as well. Like yes,
prejudice.
Yeah. So like if they were, just this most simplest, if they were dumb, like you wouldn't really get much. But if they, or if they were prejudiced or bad people, it could influence your, so and it's almost like Robert Jordan builds balances into everything.
In my Wheel of Time?
What? Okay, now let's move on to the last. I'm going to kind of lump a few of these in together, but it is the Shadow Spawn type abilities. And the first one that was brought up by you guys is Slayer's abilities. And specifically, I know we talked a little bit about his Tel'aran'rhiod extra powers. So who wants to take the lead on this one?
That's the one I would take.
Let's go, Jenny.
That's the one I would take.
Slayer.
Yeah. That of all the dreamy powers, his is the one that I really, really would like. Because he has access to Tel'aran'rhiod for all the yummy eating whatever I want reasons that I said before. He can do all that. He also can travel, and I want to be able to travel. He can like jump into Tel'aran'rhiod here in Korea and then pop out in Canada and buy a beaver tail. Hey, say hello to Delusions, then pop back and go to work. Like I want that.
Traveling dream.
Yeah. It's fantastic. He's got two things in one, and he doesn't have to smell anything. So
it's like Delusion said, is you're so wholesome. Everything.
You don't have to interact with anybody. You just walk in, walk out. You're done.
I can get snacks. I can visit my friends, and I can still be on time to work.
Yes, also, never late again.
I can do bad things too. I just can't think of any right now.
I was going to say, if we're taking this very literally, like, do you have to be able to do what Slayer does? So do you have to be an assassin on top of having the powers? Like, would you still
That's a fun twist.
If you have to kill people?
No, you took away my wholesome power.
Because I agree with you.
Jenny, would you do this if you had to kill someone?
Can I
Occasionally someone was just like, go kill this person. Why? I'm not telling you.
You have to kill your niece.
No, fuck you. What the fuck? No.
Well, Jenny, question. To be Slayer, you've got to split your soul with somebody and split your body. So who would you share your body with?
Okay, my brain just went real dirty. Like
your body is a wonderland.
We can take it.
I was just like, oh, Rihanna?
Okay.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Although then, no, for splitting bodies, I never actually get to see her. That would suck. Not that I get to see Rihanna
now. You and Riri.
You'd also go down. You'd be like, "Hey, listen, I really want to go to Canada right now," and then you could, when you wake back up, coming into the real world, you're in like Austria for some reason.
That's true. Yeah, I'd be like arguing because Riri does what Riri wants. She doesn't do what I want. Like that would be a problem. So
listen,
not
I'm trying
Rihanna.
to go visit my mom.
Not Rihanna. Somebody more compliant. I don't know.
I think we found a negative there. You'd have to rely on somebody way too heavily to have that one. And you do see them at odds a lot in the series. They do go at odds sometimes, like especially when they're in the Two Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this ability is pretty hot and cold, whether or not you have to also be an assassin.
Yes.
So that's the big, okay.
Share your soul.
Or share your soul. It's like, and who are we assassinating and who are we sharing souls with? I don't know.
Yes.
So
this
is
who we're assassinating now, right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
This next one I think is what Delusions mentioned. Hey, so Fain's GPS tracking ability. You brought it up, so you got to talk about it.
Only for 3 people. Only for 3 people.
I just think it would be, I mean, like I have this on my phone now where I can like find, where my partner is and my family. And I just look it up and I love it. Like, what's taking this asshole so long? Let me see. Oh, he stopped at Subway.
And I just, get me a sandwich.
Yeah. Get me a cookie. So I just think like with the one benefit I guess would be like you'd get a lot of cardio in because you can't really stop. So it'd be great for marathon training. Like you just put them at the end of like the marathon and then you're like, okay, let's qualify for the Olympics. And you just have to like go and like you run as fast as you can. They're like your body isn't able to shut down. And, you do great. You win some gold medals. You like win international fame. Everyone loves you. You're a little like disgusting. Probably haven't showered nearly enough unless you like position the person then in the shower. So like it'd be really tiring. You probably wouldn't be a good friend to people, but you'd be in great shape.
That took a positive spin. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. But like,
Fain never gains any weight throughout the series.
You would also have to because it's only useful for finding that one person or those three people, right? So everything else that you want, you would have to know where they are, where it is in position to that person. Like, how Robert Jordan describes everything in position to where boobs are. So like it's the necklace is between the boobs or the knife is in between. Everything's between the boobs. That's how it would have to be. Like, where is my phone in relation to Rand? Okay.
That's U-turn.
Yeah, pretty much how that works.
I feel like this ties into the Slayer ability. Like, do you get to choose who you are obsessed and, drawn towards? Because if you don't get to choose who that person is, this ability would be way worse.
So since you brought it up, Delusions, rapid fire, 3 people, go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Jake Gyllenhaal, Barney Harris, and oh god, third person. I guess my partner. I'll tell.
I was gonna say, where's your partner in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Purely only if he gets kidnapped. Only if they get kidnapped.
Yeah.
Could we go positive with this as in like my first 3 because humans, but like I would like my cats. Like if there's an emergency, be like they're right there under the couch, there's a fire, I get that. Like
and you really wouldn't have to move that much.
No, that's true. That's true.
You just get to sleep all day.
Yes.
Constantly drawn to the room next door where the cat's lounging.
Yes.
Just in a beam of light.
The sunbeam.
Laying on the floor.
Yeah, she's actually at the bottom of my tripod. So if you see my camera moving, it's her.
I mean, that brings up a good point, though. Fain's tracking ability, first couple of books, the worst. But after he goes through Shadow Logoth, which we forgot to include Mordith's, Shadow Logoth fog powers. But after that, he does gain a lot of weight at some point, right? Doesn't he become like a giant mass of something? I don't remember. But anyway, he kind of gains control of it, or he at least has some power over it. So he isn't constantly having to go drag himself through the mud to chase, but he still can use it to his advantage as needed. So maybe like a future version of Fain would be a little more tolerable.
True. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to include like the Mordeth, Mashadar style. What are the actual abilities and powers there?
Confusing.
It's a little convoluted, and for this discussion we only have a few minutes left for things to talk about because we got to wrap up and we got to choose which is the best and which you would choose. So the last 2 I want to talk about, number 1 is going to be, let's just say, Murdral abilities. So we're talking shadow jumping, not dying until sun up or sundown when your head gets chopped off, things like that. Would anybody be in favor of having Murdral powers?
Yes.
If I could look like a human.
Yeah, exactly. Can I have like a human face with eyes? Then yes, I want a shadow jump. For the same reason I want Slayer's abilities. I want to travel.
Yeah.
No, you have to look like the guy in the trailer with the
then
6 sets of teeth.
You have to have the Freddie Mercury teeth.
Yeah.
Sarlacc face.
Well, another Murdral ability is, don't they see like better than eagles?
Yeah, they see.
They have like really
well.
good eyesight. It just sucks that they have no sense of humor. I actually looked it up in the companion, and one of the specific things about Murdral is that they don't have a sense of humor.
Oh, that would suck.
That's the worst.
That's why Shidar Haran is special, because he actually smiles and gets off on doing terrible
he's
things
a
to people.
jokester.
What a funny guy.
Classic eternal rape. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's hilarious.
If I had thought of one word to describe Shadowhammer, it would totally be jokester.
Yeah, exactly. So, being able to travel through shadows, that would be pretty dang cool. I'd rather take Slayer's traveling ability over that.
Definitely. Bottom tier.
So
for
like
me for
super medium on this one.
I would say bottom tier for Murder Blood.
I gotta say, I'm not that surprised. But the last one, and this one is going to be hopefully a hot topic: immortality provided by the Dark One.
Brought to you by the Dark One.
First of all, do we know that that's real? Does he promise that, but it's not actually a thing?
No. So I think we do know it's real because of Ishmael. Like
I was gonna say, yeah.
He is not bound in, like, it could be because he's partially bound into the, like, we don't really know for sure.
Yeah.
But I personally think that it does work, but it's probably not the way that you want it to be.
And it depends on, like, how are you going to be aging? Are you going to be falling apart because you're not close enough to him? Or like, because I mean, if I'm going to live for 200 years or more.
Yeah, like look at Yeah, look at Baal and Othamal and Baal. Like they age. Like their
they're
bodies
like decaying, and that's.
But they live, so that's.
Was that worth it?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: is that immortality can be granted by the Dark One by putting your soul into another body. It's never specifically stated that immortality is you get to live in your own body for all eternity. That's why the whole balefire thing works out quite well. So
no lie, if you could just pick and be like,
yep,
I want that one.
That one.
Because then suddenly you could be Riri.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't want to be Riri. I want to. Anyway, sorry. That's a whole other thing.
That's my panel.
Yeah. Okay.
Next panel, Jenny. Next panel.
This is a hard one for me because I understand, like, life having an end is part of what gives life purpose, and yet Asmodean's reason for wanting to turn to the Dark One is the only reason I understand. Like, his reason is just like, I want to hear all the music. I want to be the best at being like, yeah, I get that. I want to read all the books. I want to see all the movies. Like, I want to do all that.
You want to experience everything. Yeah.
Yes. And so, like, if you told me,
so fucking pure.
Shut up. Yeah.
Immortality is a big no for me because if you want to see how long I can procrastinate,
I'm gonna live forever so I can read all.
That is true, though.
Like,
if you told me
infinite money, no.
If you told me I had eternity to read all the books, I probably wouldn't read all the books because I have eternity to read all the books. Right?
You procrastinate. Your procrastination level would exponentially rise.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That would be an issue. Ugh.
Like, oh shit, I said I was going to read that book and it no longer, like, no one knows that it existed.
It's like, man, that was like 3,000 years ago. What are you doing?
I'm going to be in my book club.
Yes, because books are still a thing.
And then some rando will stumble on your book collection and it'll just be like a cave full of books, thousands and thousands of books.
Yeah.
There's also that little thing where you have to, like, serve the Dark One.
Yes, see, this is also the problem. This is also
so ask for a lot.
It screams in your head occasionally.
I mean, compared to immortality for forever versus, like, I don't know, like a couple little dark things.
Yeah, caps lock for like a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Caps lock for a week.
Ishmael had immortality for 3,000 years, and all he wanted to do was die. So
yeah,
Ishmael so he couldn't even get what he wanted from the Dark One that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think probably just because as much as I hate people as, you know, a concept, I do like the people in my life, and I think it would just suck to watch everyone die and then like feel like you couldn't get attached to anyone and like you'd live a very lonely existence. And I mean, maybe if you combined it with being a wolf brother, because then you can have all your cool wolf friends and like hang out with them in the dream before they're spun out again, that'd be okay.
But what happens if, like, you know, the sun explodes and the earth explodes? Like, are you
just floating around in space? Yeah.
That's terrible.
That would be terrible.
It's going to turn into a Futurama episode now.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
Just keep going around and around and around.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And immortality doesn't mean no suffering, no pain, no heartache.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't mean
it actually would really suck, I think.
It would, yeah.
I think
no money. You'd still have to work. I mean, like, yeah, you can invest here and there, but you still need
life
to
already sucks. Why would I want to do this longer?
If you get immortality,
taking a dark turn, guys.
If you get immortality like what the Dark One gives, they can still die, right? Like they can still die. So you could be like, oh, I'm tired of living, and just off yourself. That would be.
But I'm tired.
I'm tired, indeed.
I mean, and if we're talking realistically, statistically, you're not going to live forever. You're not going to make it past 100 anyways, because something's going to happen.
That darn dragon always.
I know he's going to show up and balefire you.
And then the other negative aspect of that is, even if you do want to kill yourself, which like Ishmael shows, the dark one could be like, I'm not done.
I'm not done with you.
Not today.
Right back in.
Yeah. That's true.
All right. So I think it's time to make final decisions here. And then I'm going to take a tally. I'm going to see who thinks which is the best. But I want to go individually through this first. So what I want to hear from you is, number one, which one is the best power? Not saying you would choose it, just saying which is the best. And then second is, which one would you choose in the Wheel of Time universe? And then which one would you choose in the real world for whatever you want? I don't care. You don't have to give a rationale if you don't want to. But that's what I want to hear. So just based on the order of my screen, Kitty, you get to go first. Which is the best power?
Probably at the end of the day, because you can have some sort of control, it would be the dream walking. Potentially slayers, depending on the aspect of, do we have to kill people?
Okay, so dream walking. And then which would you choose if you were in the Wheel of Time universe? Which would you personally choose?
Luck.
Luck, okay. All right, and which would you choose for the real world?
Also luck.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm kind of a good person, but I can't do, like, the world can't rely on me to grow trees.
All right, Jenny, you're up next.
Okay, I think the best power probably is the wolf power, because it gives you dream walking and, super smell. And wolves. It gives you super smell and wolves. So it gives you three things. So I think that's probably the best power. I would not choose it though.
Okay, which would you choose in the real world?
In the real world, if I don't have to kill people, I'm taking Slayer.
If you don't have to kill, that's a big if, but okay.
Yes, it's a very big if. It's generally my any job I take. Basically, that's a question I ask. Do I have to kill people? No, sorry. Another job. I'm going to move on.
Solid question.
So many missed opportunities.
I know.
And then if you were in the Wheel of Time universe, which would you choose?
It's a toss up between Slayer and Dreamwalking.
Got to pick one, Jenny. You can't hedge.
All right, Slayer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For totally noble reasons. Lauren, which is the best power?
I think Matt's luck is the best. I think, overall, it's pretty OP. What would I choose?
Yeah.
It's a toss-up similar to Jenny between Slayer and Wolf Brother. I think I would go Slayer, like she said, if I don't have to kill people.
Okay,
because
but
in the real world, in the real world, because of the traveling ability, I mean, that would be so useful.
So wolf power in the real world, and then what in the Wheel of Time universe?
Probably Matt's luck. Although you would have a target on your back, but I think I'd go with that.
Okay, I like it. Thom, you're up next. Which is the best?
The best, I gotta say, aside from channeling, obviously I would say the wolf ability. Only because you never know when the luck's going to run out if the pattern chooses to, take it away.
Ouch. Okay. Fair point. Now, in the real world, which would you choose?
Luck. Absolutely.
Luck. Absolutely. Okay. And then in Ranland?
I think the Wolf Brother. Only because it puts you on the same level as a lot of the other more powerful people. Like, obviously we see channeling and stuff like that. Like, it's still, in certain situations, you could be on par or better.
Okay. And last but not least, again, Delusions. Which is the best power?
Luck.
Luck?
Show me the money.
All right. And which would you choose in the real world?
Wolf Brother.
Okay.
I'm Canadian. Do we have another choice?
I was going to say that as a lawyer, that super smell ability.
It's pretty powerful.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In Randland, I think I'd choose luck because I just feel like people would want to kill me more. Maybe people want to kill me in the real world too, but it just feels less immediate. With having to stay 6 feet apart.
So this is going to be tough. So just from the results of U5, I feel like we need to take a poll from the audience too. But the best power you guys voted for, 2 votes for wolf power, 2 votes for luck power. So Kitty, you initially picked dreamwalking. I need you to break a tie here. What is better, the wolf brother power or the luck power?
I mean, we're gonna lose because she likes luck.
I do. I like luck. Let's just go all across the board for me. Luck on all the way.
Love it. Okay, good.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because in the real world, we got 2 wolves and 2 lucks, and then Jenny being the slayer. It's great.
I'm a weirdo.
And then in the Wheel of Time universe, we got 3 lucks, 1 wolf and 1 slayer. So there you go. And we're taking a poll right now, just from the audience, from what it looks like. So I want to see what this.
I can see people. Hi.
Yes.
Oh, there's people.
Hi.
That's fantastic. I'm excited. Seth, I don't know if you're able to take a live poll there. I want to see what people think is the best here.
All right, yeah, go ahead. We are ready to vote.
Okay, well, we only have 2 and I can't really see anything there, so you're gonna have to do this. But
We'll
people who vote for luck being the best power, who's on luck's team?
Luck.
Hands. Not me. I'm sorry, that wasn't me. I was just.
Okay, looks like I got 9 votes for luck.
9 votes for luck,
Okay.
and then for the wolf brother power.
Okay, definitely not everybody voted.
9 votes for that one. You're kidding me.
Come on.
Seriously.
Panel is bogus.
Well, we better go another hour. Let's
I
resolve
don't know
It
what the
this.
really
point of this
does.
panel
But
was, but
it's
we
got to
didn't
be the
solve
luck.
the-
It's got to be the luck and the fairness.
Chat has decided that it's 80% luck to 20% wolf brother. So chat is going luck if that helps decide it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that helps.
I think that decides.
I think that does
luck
it, yeah.
is the best power in the Wheel Time universe. There we go.
Well, thank you so much. That was amazing. Absolutely a blast to have you guys on. You were hilarious, and the laughs in the room were hearty. So I really appreciate it.
So sad we couldn't be there in person. Thanks for having us.
Next year, I hope.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brett.
Brett.
Good job, Brett. Thank you, Seth and Rob.
Fantastic job. Thanks,
I see
Rob.
all
Thanks
of
so
you.
much.